When I was 13 years old, I had the opportunity of singing in front of about 300 guests at a wedding hosted by my church, in which my mom is the lead pastor of the church. I stood in front of the crowd, terrified, but I have this thing I do as a PK. I'll talk about being a PK in a few minutes. But I have this thing I do as a PK where you put up a brave face. You are, required to be strong regardless of whatever. And you put up a brave face. You do not act like you are scared. So I probably did not look like I was scared. But if you know me well enough, you would know that I was scared. There were signs that showed that I was terrified. Now, I wasn't terrified because I had to sing in front of people. I was used to it. I have been singing since I could say mama or dada. So I was used to the whole thing. And one of the things about being a PK is that you are given responsibilities that you do not ask for. Well, you were born into it. So you are used as a sermon most of the time. You know the Bible really well, or you are required to, or it's just like bestowed upon you that every Bible question you should know the answer, because you're the pastor's kid, first to leave the church, first to come to church, last to leave, and so on and so forth. But this is not about being a PK. Walk with me. Now I stood in front of the crowd, terrified as hell, terrified. It's one thing to sing in front of young people. Young people, you need a good bit. Have your song in check. You're good to go. But these are elderly people. And it's a wedding. You do not want to flop. And I kind of was the, kind of like lead or head of the adult choir at that moment. Well, there's not really many people to do it. So I just picked up the role because I could. And I have a great voice. So I stood there fidgeting. All of a sudden, I felt a tap on my shoulder. Now, at that moment, you do not want to feel taps on your shoulder because you are thinking about your set songs and, how you're going to go, how the progression is going to go, how your voice is going to sound, how you're going to, try to make these older people move an eyebrow. Turning around, I saw it was an usher. Now, this was just not an ordinary usher. This usher is my uncle, like biological uncle. Uncle, not the normal African uncle and aunties that we all know. My uncle said something to me. He said, "Do not fear." Now, my 13-year-old mind was going, excuse me, bro. What's your business? Asking him, thinking in my head, I am in the middle of something, do not touch me. But he said something else that caught my attention. He said, your mother said. Now, he said this now firmly than before, because I'm sure he could see the doubt in my face, like, I didn't ask you. One thing about African aunties and uncles is that they make your life their priority. So at that point, I was thinking, why is he making my life my priority? I do not look scared, although I felt scared. Now, he turned to me firmly and he said, your mother said, do not fear. I was like, okay, I don't think I believe you. Now, for two-factor authentication, based on he's an African uncle, I turned back to look at my mom, who was seated where the pastors usually sit. And I found her head bent in prayer, mumbling words, so I knew she was praying. But it felt like she could notice that I was looking at her. And then she raised her head up, looked at me in the eyes and said, shaking her head, she said, do not fear. Now, for more emphasis, she made a fist and she said again, be bold, do not fear. Two-factor authentication sealed. That was all I needed at that moment. Well, let's just say, I sang my heart out. I know it's for the Lord, but yeah, I sang my heart out. Scrap that. Let's move on from there. In the Bible, should I say in the Christian faith, it's been researched and known that the word fear not is said 365 times in the Bible. And we use each day, 365 days in a year, each day, to go with that word, do not fear, do not fear, do not fear. And it's something we live by. But do we really? Now, you can take two things from this story I just gave you. You can either be like me, who needed, a little bit of assurance, and turn to the Father, in this case, my mother, and turn to the Father to ask him, did you really say that? Did you really tell me not to fear? Or some people who, once they hear the word, they know and they believe strongly that it's from God. Some people just need a little bit of nudging, and sometimes they face extra things that make them doubt that, did God really say that to me? Did he really tell me not to fear? What I'm trying to say, or all I want you to get from this that I just said, is whatever phase you are going through right now, do not fear.